Yes.
So what you ask for means we're going to give you way more items in your arsenal. So you've got more ammo in your toolkit, okay? And we're
Right.
going to give you things that are not on the list of objections for adjusters where you know they're going to say, that's included in the waste. Well, that's included in this, or
Right.
it's our policy, right? So
Right.
now we move on to step 2, and step 2 is you already have what you're going to ask for. Now it's how you ask for those things, okay?
Right.
It's not as simple as saying, well, here are the items that we're asking for, thanks. Because guess what? Adjusters, you're basically closing them like you would a customer, right?
Uh-huh.
If I showed up to a customer's house and they've never met me before in their life and I knocked on their door and they opened the door and I just said, hey, you have hail damage. I saw it up there. Here's a contract. Just sign right here and I'm going to go ahead and get you a new roof.
Right.
What if that was my sales pitch? It's like nobody would
Right.
sign. I'm not closing anybody. I'm just asking for the order without a sales presentation. You have to have a sales presentation before you ask for the order. And with supplementing, that means you have to present to the adjuster before you ask them to pay the supplement, right?
Right.
So what we're doing here is a couple of things. One, of course, every line item that you ask for, you're going to have a thorough explanation of why it's necessary for that job, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not just saying, here we need cornice strips. I'm saying we need cornice strips paid for, and here are the photos, and here's why we need it, and here's the definition. Because we're handling the objection before it comes up, right? But more importantly, when we send it off, I have in the program, it's just called the email script. And it's a script, it's a short paragraph that's going to introduce each supplement when you send it by email. So when the adjuster gets it, they open it, and the way that it reads, it sounds like somebody at the insurance company actually asked them to send it over. So they read it, and then they open it, and the Xactimate looks more professional than if an adjuster did it, and you're not asking for the same stuff that they're banging their head against the wall about. It's different line items, okay? So sometimes, Andrea, I'm sure if you look on my website, if you watched enough of my videos, you'll see where I share where adjusters literally email back and they go, looks great. I wish all my supplements looked like this, and they go, checks in the mail. Sometimes you're going to get adjusters that literally just say yes because it's put together so well. That's like 1 out of, 20 is going to happen like that. But the other thing that you have to be prepared for is the third and final step, which is no matter how well you put it together and no matter what fancy line items you put on there, and if you follow my system to a T, you can't expect that every single time you send it off, every adjuster from every insurance company on every single claim is going to say to you, Andrea, thank you for sending that over. Check is in the mail. Send me another one. They're still, right? Like, they're still going to give you objections. Okay? Why do you think they're still going to object?
I honestly feel like because they can.
Because it's their job.
Right. They're not supposed to spend any money if they don't have to.
They're paid to mitigate loss for the insurance company. In fact, I remember so vividly, I had an adjuster one time. I think it was Liberty Mutual, but he handed me his business card. We did the inspection together or whatever, and handed me his business card, and it said his name, and then underneath it said loss mitigation for Liberty Mutual. And so I was like, wow, they're not, it's like their job is it's not to go and serve the customer. It is to a degree, but their actual job is to mitigate the loss of their company. Right?
Right.
That's what they do. They're running a business, and businesses are in business to make money. Insurance companies are huge businesses, okay? So their adjuster's job is to go out, and when they have claims, it's pay enough to indemnify the customer. To certainly don't pay a penny more, and get away with paying as little as possible because that's good for business, right?
Right.
Can't blame them. They're a business. I get it. But at the same time, you guys are a business and the customer is paying for a policy that's supposed to cover them for their covered perils,
exactly.
right? So the third part of that puzzle is handling the objections, as many as you can. And here's the thing. If you're not going to sue everybody every single time or go to appraisal, which is not what I teach, then I can't show you how to get 100% of your line items on 100% of your claims with 100% of the insurance carriers and 100% of the adjusters every single time. But I can teach you how to overcome as many objections as humanly possible. And how we do that is we teach you an if this, then that format of handling objections, which means if the adjuster says something like this, you're going to say that. Then if they say this, you're going to send this photo, use this documentation, have your customer send in this letter, use this phrase until you might go back and forth 2, 3, 4, 5 times until the adjuster either gives you what you want, maybe you're asking for $5,000, okay? And he either says yes, or he says yes to enough of it, maybe he lands at 4,000, and you go, all right, good enough. Let's call it and move on to the next one. Because I'm also not teaching you guys, like, I don't want you to be fighting for 2 weeks over a chimney flashing or a pipe jack, right?
Right, and oh my God, you hit the nail on my head. We literally just had an insurance adjuster do that.
Yep.
We asked for, they thought in the picture that it was 3 pipe jacks, but in actuality, no, they saw in the picture it was 2, but that was the way the picture was turned versus the salesperson that was out there taking the picture.
Yep.
And the adjuster never came. The adjuster sent someone to get onto the roof. So the person that got off the roof didn't take any extra photos. So they seriously denied the entire line of pipe jacks because they saw 2 when it was 3.
Yeah.
So they denied all 3 of them.
Right, which is such a great example even to your customers of the flaw in the adjusting system. It's like, listen, even you could get the best adjuster in the world who treats it like your house, like it's his own house, and it like you're his mother or something, you know, and makes sure that every single thing is paid for correctly, and he's got construction experience, so he knows exactly what's code and what has to be done and so on. But you also might have the adjuster that doesn't even get on the roof. That happens all the time.
Yeah, that.
It happens all the time.
And as for our photos.
Exactly. Or they didn't, like in your instance, where they didn't even get on the roof, didn't actually even take photos. And so when they came, or they took photos, but the only photos were what you could see in the photo, and they missed things.
Right.
And it was like, that's what they were writing their scope off of. So it helps you to also be able to, this helps you. All of this third-party stuff, Andrea, will assist you in dealing with your homeowners when it comes to supplementing as well. Because remember, your homeowners are ignorant most of the time. Some of them know, like, insurance companies are greedy and they're going to try to rip me off. But a lot of them think, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, or you're in good hands.
And they're there for them, not the case.
Exactly. And then they think that the contractor's the greedy one, when in reality, it's the insurance company would rather pay $0. They would rather you keep paying them $1,000 a year or $2,000 a year, whatever it is, and pay you $0 for claims because that's how they make their profit. But when they come out, injustice to the customer doesn't necessarily mean just denying the claim. A lot of the time, they'll approve the claim, but they'll pay $7,500 when it should be $15,000. Right?
Yep.
So helping the customer understand that is also important, because the other thing, when you take this a step further, when you're supplementing, your homeowners can actually be one of your biggest leverages in getting this stuff approved. Because remember, you're the contractor. You don't have a policy with AAA. But the customer whose claim has been filed, they have a contract with AAA. So the adjuster at AAA doesn't owe you jack shit, but they owe their customer.
Exactly.
So when you ask for certain things in a certain way, they might fight you all day long and build up a wall. But when your customer asks for it in a specific way, and by the way, I have all this stuff scripted for you guys. There's letters you'll download and use and all that for this stuff. But when you do that, the insurance adjusters sing a different tune, because now they could be breaching their contract with their customer, right?
Right.
They can say no to you, but they can't exactly say no to their customer if what you're asking for is legit.
Right.
But you have to have the tools, you have to have the knowledge, you have to have the language and definitions and the strategies. This all works together for you to be able to be effective at supplementing and get your customer indemnified for the things that they should be indemnified for, and to make sure that you guys can put the right things on the roof and you get paid for the work that you do. Everybody gets taken care of correctly.